Charlie's Diner, just off Route 9, where the coffee's strong enough to wake the dead, and the regulars are men who've already met M. The place hasn't changed since '73. Red vinyl booths cracked with age, a grease-stained grill, and a neon open sign that flickers like it's one power surge from giving up. But the cook? Oh, he's the real fixture. Name's Frank, Marine Desert Storm, 2 tours. These days, he flips burgers and listens. Because in a place like this, the quiet ones, they're the ones who've seen the devil up close. Asterisk. Asterisk, then there's him. The old man in the corner. Army jacket, so faded it's more memory than fabric. Comes in every Sunday like clockwork. 6 a.m., rain or shine. Orders black coffee, leaves $1 tip, and never says a word. Most folks figure he's just another broken-down vet, hugging the shadows. But Frank? He notices the way the man's hands don't shake when he lifts the cup, the way his eyes track every exit without turning his head. And that patch on his sleeve, First Cav, Vietnam. But something's off. See, Frank knows patches. And this one, it's been cut, sliced right through the center, like a scar, asterisk. Now, in the world of men who've worn uniforms, that ain't just thread. That's a story. And Frank's about to learn some stories by back. It's a Tuesday when the trouble starts. Some kid, college boy with a support the troop sticker on his laptop, starts running his mouth. Hey, old-timer, Halloween's over. Where'd you get that costume? The diner goes dead quiet. Even the jukebox seems to hold its breath. Frank's already moving, but he's too late. The old man just stares. Not angry, not hurt, like he's looking right through that kid to something else. Something worse. Then Frank sees it. The patch. Up close, it's not just cut, it's burned. And underneath, the faintest outline of another insignia. One Frank's only heard about in whispers. LRRPs, long-range recon. The guys who went so deep into the jungle. Even the army pretended they didn't exist. The kid still laughing when Frank grabs his shoulder. Son, he says, voice low as a grave. That man's jacket's got more honor in one thread than you'll earn in your whole life. Now apologize or get the hell out of my diner. The kid scoffs. But then the old man moves. Just a flick of his wrist. And suddenly, that coffee cup sitting on the kid's table. Full. Steam rising. Never spilled a drop. The message is clear. I don't need help, but you need to learn. Kid leaves fast. And for the first time, the old man looks at Frank, nods, and in that nod, a thank you and a warning. After that day, the diner changes. Not the walls or the menu, the air. The old man still comes, still silent. But now, the other vets, even the hard cases who haven't said a word in years, start leaving things on his table. A Zippo with a faded Semper Fi, a poker chip from Da Nang, a bullet casing, polished shiny. It's the language of men who don't talk. And Frank, he's starting to understand. Then comes the storm. Not the kind you see on radar. The kind that lives in a man's bones. The old man's at his usual spot when the TV flashes a hurricane warning. And that's when Frank sees it. The way his fingers tighten around that coffee cup. Not fear, recognition. Like he's been here before. In the jungles, monsoons meant two things. Enemies moving quiet and brothers dying quieter. The power goes out. Wind howls like incoming artillery. And the old man, he stands up, slow, deliberate. And for the first time, he speaks. Just 2 words. Get ready. Frank doesn't ask for what. He knows. Some men can smell death coming. And right now, this diner, it's ground zero. The storm hits like a mortar strike. Windows shatter. The roof groans. And then a scream. 2 truckers are pinned under a collapsed beam. Frank's dragging one clear when he sees him. The old man. Only now, he's not old. He's moving like a man half his age. Shoulders square, hands steady. That limp gone like it was never there. He wrenches the beam up like it's balsa wood, hauling the second trucker free just as the ceiling caves behind them. Outside, in the pounding rain, the trucker gasps, "Who the hell are you?" The old man doesn't answer. just stares at the wrecked diner, like he's seeing another building, another storm. Key-san, he mutters, and then he's gone, vanished into the rain like smoke. Next morning, Frank finds something on the old man's table. A dog tag. No name. Just coordinates scratched into the metal. And when Frank looks it up, he wishes he hadn't. It's an LZ landing zone from 1971. Operation Prairie Fire. Official records say no one made it out alive. So why does this tag feel warm, like it's still got a heartbeat? Frank's no detective, but some questions won't let you sleep. He tracks down the old man's trailer, a rusted tin can at the edge of town. Doors unlocked. Inside, just a cot, a footlocker, and the smell of gun oil and regret. That footlocker's got a combination lock. Frank tries the date from the dog tag. It clicks open. Inside, a purple heart wrapped in a blood-crusted map. A K-bar knife, blade snapped clean in half. And a photo, 5 young soldiers, arms around each other, grinning like they've got forever, for faces are crossed out in pencil. The 5th? Young, unbroken, but the eyes... Frank would know those eyes anywhere. Under the photo, a folded letter. Never mailed. Just 3 lines. Tell my wife I'm sorry. Tell my boys I love them. And tell the truth if you can find it. Frank's hands are shaking now, because he's holding more than relics. He's holding a man's soul. And outside, the wind's picking up again like it's laughing at him, like it knows what comes next. Frank sits at the VFW bar, the dog tag heavy in his pocket. He doesn't even have to ask. Old Sam, the bartender, a Navy man with a prosthetic leg and a voice like gravel, slides a bourbon his way and says, "Figured you'd come around eventually." Sam leans in, eyes darting to the door like he's expecting trouble. That man you're a skin about? He's the last. The others, well, some didn't make it back. The ones who did. Sam pours himself a shot, knocks it back. Let's just say the jungle didn't let him go easy. Nightmares. Ghosts. The kind that don't fade. Frank turns the dog tag over in his fingers. What happened out there? Sam wipes the bar slow, like he's buying time. Officially? Nothing. Operation didn't exist. But you want to know the truth? Look at his hands. Frank remembers. The old man's fingers, scarred, twisted. Not from age. From rope. From holding on too damn long. He pulled him out, didn't he? Frank whispers. His team. Sam doesn't nod. Doesn't have to. The silence says it all. Some men carry more than medals. They carry the weight of who got left behind. 2 nights later, the hurricane rolls in like judgment. Frank's boarding up the diner when he sees him. The old man, standing in the empty lot across the street, face tilted into the wind like he's daring it to try him. Lightning flashes, and for a second, Frank doesn't see an old man. He sees a soldier, back straight, eyes sharp, a man who stared down storms before, and worse, than the tornado siren wails. Frank's about to shout when the old man moves, not toward shelter, toward the trailer park on the edge of town, where the weak and the poor hole up and pray. Frank follows, heart hammering. He's not a hero, but he's starting to think he's walking behind one. The wind's a living thing now, tearing shingles off roofs, flipping cars like toys. And then a scream, a kid, trapped under a collapsed carport. The old man doesn't hesitate. He wades into the wreckage, lifts a beam like it's nothing, and pulls the boy free. But the storm's not done. A trailer tips metal screeching, coming right for them. Frank's too far away. He's going to watch a man die, saving a stranger. But the old man, he shoves the kid into Frank's arms and turns, just in time to take the hit. The trailer slams him into the mud, and when the dust clears, he's gone. Just a blood-stained jacket left behind. Frank's yelling now, digging through debris, but the boy tugs his sleeve. "Mister," he says, pointing to the trees. He went that way. Frank squints. And there, limping but alive, the old man vanishes into the rain, like he's got one last mission, and it ain't dying today. The storm passes. The town picks up the pieces. And Frank, he's got a blood-stained jacket and a question burning a hole in his gut. He goes back to the trailer. It's empty. No note, no goodbye, just an envelope on the cot. His name on the front. Inside, two things. A Medal of Honor recommendation, dated 1971, never submitted, and a note, handwritten, some medals way too much to wear. Frank's hands shake. This isn't just paper. It's a confession. A man so haunted by what he did to survive, he couldn't bear to be called a hero. The recommendations got details. Ambushed, outnumbered. Carried 3 men through enemy fire. But the last line scratched out. Like the writer couldn't finish it. Like some things don't get happy endings. Frank folds the letter slow. He knows now. The old man didn't come to this town to be remembered. He came to forget. But the past? It's got claws. 3 days later, a black SUV rolls into town. Government plates. No markings. Out steps a man in a crisp suit. Too old for field, too sharp for retirement. Frank knows the type. Colonel, probably CIA now. The kind of man who buries secrets for a living. He finds Frank at the diner. Doesn't bother with small talk. You've been asking about Harrow. It's not a question. Frank stiffens. He never knew the old man's name. The colonel sips his coffee, eyes cold. That man wasn't just a nom. He was Task Force Omega. Frank's heard the rumors. The ghost units. The one so black. Even the Pentagon denies. What do you want? Frank growls. The colonel slides a photo across the table. Same one from the Foot Locker. 5 soldiers. Only now, Frank sees it. The other 4? Their faces aren't just crossed out. They're burned. Harrow's the last, the colonel says. And some people want it to stay that way. Frank's fists clench. He's no fool. He knows what some people means. Loose ends. Unfinished business. The colonel stands, drops a card on the table. If he contacts you, call. For his sake. The door closes. Frank burns a card. Some debts don't get paid with phone calls. Frank finds him at sunrise. The Vietnam Wall, a shadow among shadows. The old man, Harrow, stand at panel W22, one hand pressed to a name. Frank doesn't speak, just waits. Finally, Harrow says, "You looking for answers, son? Or just someone to blame?" Frank shakes his head. "I want to know why you left." Harrow's quiet a long time. Then, softer than Frank expects, "I didn't. They did." He taps the name on the wall. Jones. Carried him 2 clicks on my back. Bullet in his lung. He kept saying, "Put me down, Sarge. Save yourself." Frank knows what comes next. The part where the hero disobeys, carries his brother home, gets the medal. But Harrow's eyes tell a different story. "I put him down," he whispers, "just for a minute, just to catch my breath. And when I turned back, his fingers trace the name, gone, like he was never there." Frank feels it then. The real weight, not of the men Harrow saved, the one he couldn't. "You stayed," Frank says, "all these years. Why?" Harrow turns. First time he's really looked at Frank, because Jonassy's still out there, somewhere, and somebody's got to bring him home. And just like that, Frank understands. The old man wasn't hiding. He was waiting. For what? Maybe forgiveness. Maybe a fight. Or maybe just a man brave enough to listen when the story ends and the real mission begins. Frank stands there at the wall, the morning sun cutting sharp shadows across the names. Harrow doesn't offer excuses. Doesn't ask for forgiveness. Just reaches into his jacket and pulls out a folded flag. Old, the edges frayed, the stars dulled by time. He presses it into Frank's hands. "This was Jonassy's," he says. "Never got to give it to his family." Frank knows what this means. The weight of it, the honor, but also the guilt. "Why me?" he asks. Harrow almost smiles. "Because you bought the coffee." And just like that, Frank gets it. This isn't about heroics. It's about the small things, the quiet acts of respect that keep men like Harrow going. The old man turns to leave, but Frank stops him. "What now?" Harrow pauses, his back still turned. "Now, I go find him." And with that, he walks away, not like a man defeated, but like a soldier who's finally got his orders. Back at the diner, Frank frames a flag. No fanfare, no speech, just a simple plaque underneath. Reserved for those who don't need applause. The regulars notice. They always do. A few nod. One, a Vietnam vet with a missing arm, salutes. The message is clear. This isn't just for Harrow. It's for all of them. The quiet ones. The ones who came back broken, but still standing. Asterisk then, something unexpected. A young Marine, fresh-faced, maybe 20, walks in, sees the flag, stops cold. "Sir," he says to Frank, voice tight. That is? Asterisk. Frank doesn't ask how he knows. Something's just passed between warriors, like a torch in the dark. "Yeah," Frank says. "It was..." The kid swallows hard. "My granddad," he talked about a sergeant like that, said he carried 3 men out of hell and never took credit. Frank looks at the kid, really looks, and sees it. The same steel in the eyes. "What's your name, son?" "Jones," the kid says. And just like that, the circle closes. Word spreads, not in headlines or social media posts, but the way it always does with warriors, through handshakes, nods, and late-night stories over cheap beer. The diner becomes a pilgrimage, not for gawkers, for believers, men and women who've seen the worst and still believe in the best. One day, a group of young recruits, baby-faced and buzzing with adrenaline, come in after basic training. They see the flag, the plaque. One of them, a lanky kid with a nervous grin, asks Frank, "Who was he?" Frank wipes the counter, slow. He was the kind of man who made sure you gotta ask that question. The kids don't laugh. They don't joke. They just sit a little straighter, drink a little slower. And when they leave, one of them, the quiet one in the back, touches the plaque like it's a promise. Years pass. The diner closes. Frank's knees give out, and he ends up at the VA hospital, staring at the same 4 walls every damn day. Then, one morning, he wakes up to a commotion. Nurses whispering. Orderlies standing straighter. And there, in the rec room, his flag, his plaque, mounted right above the TV. "How?" Frank asks the nurse. She shrugs. "Anonymous donation." Came with a note. She hands him a scrap of paper. 2 words. "Still watching." Frank laughs, a rough, wet sound, because he knows. Some men don't fade away. They just change posts. Frank's old now. Older than Harrow was when they met. But every Sunday at 6 a.m., he pours 2 coffees. One for him, one for the empty chair. The nurses think it's sweet. The doctors call it coping. The vets, they know better. One morning, a new orderly, a kid with tattoos and a haunted look, asks, "Who's the second cup for?" Frank doesn't look up. "For the man who taught me something." "What's that?" Frank slides a cup across the table. That courage ain't about medals. It's about showing up, day after day, long after the world stops watching. The kid sits down, picks up the cup, and for the first time in years, Frank sees it, that same spark, that same quiet fire. The legacy lives, not in statues or speeches, in coffee cups and folded flags and men who know the bravest battles are fought in silence.